O Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I am weak. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are vexed. My soul is also sore, vexed. But thou, O Lord, how long? Psalm 6, 1-3. Psalm 6 opens with the desperate plea of a man in profound distress. David the psalmist stands before God not as a confident warrior king, but as a broken vessel. These verses reveal the raw humanity of biblical faith and offer us a pattern for approaching God in our darkest moments. The psalm begins with David's urgent request, O Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. Notice what David doesn't do. He doesn't deny his need for correction. He acknowledges God's right to rebuke and chasten. His plea isn't to escape discipline, but rather that God would temper justice with mercy. The Hebrew words for anger and hot displeasure convey intense divine emotion. David recognizes he stands before a holy God who has legitimate cause for displeasure, yet he appeals to God's compassion, knowing that while God's anger is real, his wrath is secondary to his mercy. In verse 2, David's vulnerability intensifies. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I am weak. The word translated weak suggests being feeble or withered, like a plant without water. David, once described as a mighty warrior, now confesses complete powerlessness. This admission creates space for God's strength to operate, echoing Paul's later discovery that divine power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. David continues with a specific request. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are vexed. The reference to bones suggests that his distress has physical manifestations. The Hebrew word for vexed conveys violent trembling or being terrified. David experiences physical suffering that mirrors his spiritual anguish. Verse 3 reveals the comprehensive nature of his pain. My soul is also sore, vexed. His entire being trembles under the weight of his circumstances. We aren't told about the specific cause of David's suffering. It might be physical illness, the consequences of sin, or persecution from enemies. This ambiguity allows believers in various trials to find their experience reflected in David's words. The Psalm's opening section concludes with the poignant question, But thou, O Lord, how long? This abbreviated cry reveals both David's faith and his frustration. He doesn't question if God will act, but when. The unfinished sentence conveys the breathlessness of extreme distress. For believers today, these verses offer several vital lessons. First, they legitimize emotional honesty in prayer. David doesn't mask his pain with religious platitudes. He brings his raw feelings to God. When we suffer, we need not pretend to be stronger than we are. God welcomes our unfiltered cries. Second, David models how to balance reverence with intimacy in prayer. He acknowledges God's holiness while appealing to his mercy. This teaches us that approaching God doesn't mean approaching him with casualness. True intimacy with God includes a reverent awareness of his majesty. Third, David's example reminds us that physical and emotional suffering aren't always a sign of God's absence or displeasure. Scripture reminds us that faithful believers often experience deep pain. Our suffering may result from living in a fallen world, spiritual attack, or God's loving discipline, but it never shows abandonment by God. Last, David's cry, "How long?" validates the struggle of waiting for God's deliverance. Faith doesn't eliminate the pain of prolonged suffering, but it provides an anchor during the wait. As we'll see in the rest of this psalm, David's confidence in God's character sustains him, even when immediate relief doesn't come.